Hello and welcome to 5dpath.fun, where you're going to hear everything metaphysical and in the fifth dimensional vibration. Today, I want to discuss how the people with Virgo rising in their chart might be experiencing this Mars phase that we're in, the Mars cycle, which just started last month in the month of October 2023. And I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to use my chart, my natal chart, as an example because I do have a Virgo rising. But we're also going to talk about how there's this evolutionary journey with the last Mars cycle and how they're related. So I just kind of want to show you that, how Mars might be affecting you. Give me just a second while I try to figure out how do we share the screen. Okay, now you can see my screen here. And this is my natal chart, and on the outside are the transits. Now, this is, as of last year, November 1st, we had a Mars cycle that began in Libra. And it began about 2 years ago. And last November, Mars went retrograde in Gemini. If you remember back to November of 2022, what was going on in your life. And you might not have felt anything being initiated, but I want to bring to your attention how you have Libra in the second house. And so that is about what we value, and also it's our resources. And sometimes it's like how we bring money in for ourselves personally. Whereas the opposite house, Aries, is money that we share with others and or money that we receive from others. So that's kind of important, this whole Libra second house energy, because it has to do with our own finances, what we value in our life, how we are receiving those finances, sometimes how we're spending those finances. And so that's what was being called in the last cycle. That's what was being called to up level, to shift and change, and to more or less transform into a higher, more evolved energy. And because we had this Mars retrograde in Gemini, which is also an air sign, and it was trining, the air signs trine each other, just as all the other elemental signs trine each other. So it was in an air sign. And this is our 10th house, which is our house of career and our house of where we obtain recognition for our gifts and talents. So if it's not where we're actually in a career, it's also like just something that people give us awards and recognition for our hard work and efforts through our lifetime. So that's an important house. It's just as important to me as is our second house. And so if you've got Virgo rising, you do have most likely Gemini in the 10th house or on the midheaven, which rules the 10th house. And so Mars retrograding in 2022 through this 10th house area for us means that we were sort of getting a cocoon phase. Our butterfly was in the chrysalis of that 10th house, reforming, framing. What do we want to do? Are we in the right path of our career? Are we actually moving towards our career, towards our reputation, towards our what inspires us the most, what we want to be seen for? Or are we kind of letting life happen to us and not taking the reins and making the decisions and directing our life, whether it's taking action because Mars is action, or whether it's listening to spirit, if you're more of yin, which that's the other energy of Libra on the second house, is it's a more feminine energy. It's very calm and peaceful and quiet, and it doesn't necessarily fight for its resources. But it is fair. It's very judicial. It wants fairness. It wants justice. So For me, how that expresses, because Libra also rules relationships, is I value my relationships. And in the past, my relationships oftentimes were part of my money system, right? They were my resources. And now I'm being called to up level. This is for me personally, to make my own money. So I don't know if any of you are experiencing that, maybe through that Mars retrograde in Gemini. We're being called to actually take more action personally with our own resources, our own reputation, rather than letting someone else give it to us or provide it for us. You know, we oftentimes project and let the other person provide it for us. And when they don't, then we feel, oh, a little bit angry, a little hurt or whatever, when the reality is we need to really recognize that within ourselves. It's an inside job. So I'm going to go next to, this is the chart now, or at least this is now. And I do want to say that we just had a new Mars cycle, the Mars and the Sun down at the bottom of the chart. They met at about 28 degrees, I believe it was, of Scorpio. So that started our new Mars cycle, and that's going to last 2 years. And so the thing I want to bring to your attention here, there's no mistakes with astrology. It's very interesting how one thing plays upon the other. So the Mars retrograde happened in Gemini, right? Our 10th house. And this Scorpio energy in the house of people with a Virgo rising is the 3rd house, which is ruled by Gemini. So it still has the Gemini theme. The background running program is sort of this Gemini energy. And so again, we're being called to do some Mars work in that Gemini area. And the 3rd house for you with a Virgo rising is Scorpio. So that means it's like the inner depth, the truth. Scorpio is nothing superficial. It gets down to the very core of ideas, projects, problems. And its co-ruler is Mars. So Mars is actually very strong in Scorpio. And to me, that means we're again being called to speak to a deeper level of truth, to take action for maybe for what we feel like is our 10th house energy, and to own the power, because Scorpio is very much about power, right? So own your sovereign power in the career choice, in the 10th house energy that you were designed for, or that your passion is for. So again, it's like this similar feel. It's not so much in the relationship like Libra was, although Scorpio does rule the 8th house, which is a relationship house, because that's our shared resources. So again, we have that kind of common theme of resources and relationship. So I'm just pointing that out again, that we're going to be asked to up level more. We did a lot in the last 2 years, and now we're being asked again with this Mars cycle to up level more. Now, later in the year, I think it is actually October of 2024, we're going to have Mars retrograde in Cancer, which is also a water sign. Again, we have the trine. Mars is going to retrograde in a water sign because it started its cycle in a water sign. And so it's going to be up-leveling for us those areas of friends, large groups, hopes and dreams in our life, and the things that are related to 11th house themes. And you're going to want to look in your own chart and see what you have in Scorpio, if you have anything in Scorpio, and what you have in Cancer, and maybe even what you have in Pisces, because those areas will all be stimulated during They were stimulated during the Mars start of the cycle, and also they will be in October when Mars goes retrograde in Cancer. And again, Cancer is ruled by the moon, and it rules the fourth house. So sometimes it has to do with our home. So it might be this initiation to move. It might be maybe owning more power and authority within your home. That's kind of an expression for you to decide. You probably know what your inner inklings are, where that's going to go for you. And so that's all I wanted to talk about today. I just wanted to share how the Virgo rising people are going to be possibly experiencing some changes through both of the last 2 years and this next 2 years, and how they kind of are related in our career house and our money houses, actually. All right, I'm going to stop the share, and thank you so much for, oops, I can't really figure it out. All right, we're going to end this session. Thanks for showing up. Remember to like and subscribe because that helps my channel. If you enjoyed what we're doing here, and if you'd like to see more, go ahead and make some comments. I appreciate it. Take care.